Welcome back. The Victorian Liberals have a tough road ahead. They've lost 6 of the past 7 elections, and that's despite extended COVID lockdowns, schools being closed for months, and every other challenge Victorians have faced during the pandemic. But the Liberals have a new leader and some bright new talent amongst their ranks, including former tennis player Sam Groth. And I'm pleased to say he joins me now from Spring Street. Sam, I've worked with you at Channel 9 for a few years. It's so great to be back on the same network as you. Congratulations. Why politics?
Well, thank you, Erin. Yeah, it's great to speak to you. Who would have thought that a couple of years ago when we were working together on the tennis that I'd be speaking to you in this situation? But I guess it is the last couple of years that drove me to be here. We got through an election. We obviously were able to pick up Narrabeen only a week or so ago that gave us 28 seats. But you know, with a new leader and a few new faces alongside me, I guess, in the new Liberal Party and shadow cabinet, we've certainly got our work ahead of us.
I don't know how suited you're going to be to opposition, my friend. How do you feel about that?
Oh, look, I'd prefer not to be coming into opposition, that's for sure. But look, I think the reality has to be, you know, from our point of view, it's, you mentioned 6 of 7, but 3 in a row now since we lost in 2014. After the last 4 years and the last term that we saw of this Labor government under Daniel Andrews, the fact that the Victorian public didn't see us as a viable alternative at the election only a couple of months ago sort of says to us that we've got to take stock of where things are at and actually start to present ourselves as an electable party. You know, when you join with the Nationals, who had a decent result when you think about the number of seats they picked up, but at the moment, you know, the Victorian public has sent us a clear message, I think, in November, that we just aren't electable and we aren't what they want at the moment. And I think we really need to take a look and work out what we're going to do for the future to make ourselves a viable form of government.
You've clearly got time on your side, but I suspect it will go fairly quickly. Most things do. How do you become electable and how do you win the next election?
Well, I think the first thing is, you know, it is 4 years, but the reality is, you know, it doesn't just give, because they were elected in November, the Daniel Andrews government, a mandate to govern how they want and to keep spending Victorian taxpayers' money the way they want. We've already seen them start to cut over the last week. We've seen them cut water resources and take money out of that. We know the health system is still in crisis. We've seen those numbers. We're seeing the police force struggle to get numbers and dissatisfaction in those areas. We need to be able to hold this government to account to the things that they're doing and make sure that at the same time it's not just always saying what they do is bad. You know, we can disagree on things, but we've actually got to present policy and ideas and things that the Victorian public want to vote for. Now, I know we have our base and it's quite strong, but the reality is, unless we pick up another 3 to 5 to 10% of the vote somewhere from people that aren't either voting for us or preferences aren't flowing to us, you know, we need to find a way to pick up that vote. Otherwise, we'll find ourselves perennially in opposition like we have already for the last 8 years.
You've always been very opinionated in a good way, and some ripper columns you used to write for the papers, and I did think at that stage that a political future could be on the cards. Tell me you're not going to tone it down and toe party lines.
Oh, look, I will say this. I'm going to stick to my guns. I'm going to stand up for what I believe is right. But I think the reality is as well, we need to show discipline as a party. We need to all get on the same page. We need to present a united front and a message that is, this is how we're going to govern if we are elected. Now, 2026 is a long time away. But the reality is, until we can sort our own stuff out internally, until we all get on the same page and deliver a message that shows Victorians that we can be a party that can lead this state, you know, party discipline needs to be a part of that. Now, that doesn't mean we don't stand up for the things that we believe in, but it just means that, you know, the public wants to see a party that can govern. And at the moment, I don't believe they're seeing that. And I believe under John Pizzuto and some of the new faces that we have, we can certainly present that to the Victorian people.
I have to get your opinion, given you're in a unique position of being, well, an expert on tennis and now on politics. I had the PM on a little bit earlier in the show and asked him about the criticism levelled at him that he spent more time at the tennis, the Australian Open, 3 nights in a row, than he did on the ground in Alice Springs. What is your thoughts on that?
Oh, look, we love being at the tennis, don't we? It's one of our key events here in Melbourne. You know, it's something very, very close to me. But I think also, you know, we saw the criticism levelled at the previous Prime Minister under a coalition government. I think the fact that, you know, Anthony Albanese, you know, tennis elbow, as they're calling him down here this morning, gets away with what he's getting away with. You know, there is a crisis up in Alice Springs. It needs to be looked at. It needs to be fixed. It needs to be addressed. You know, we'd like to see the Prime Minister, while it's all great to see Novak Djokovic winning number 10, you know, to actually deal with the things that are important of the day.
This might sound ridiculous, and it probably is, given that you're not even in government yet. What do you want your political legacy to be in 20 years' time, Sam?
It's a great question. I've had the chance to already deliver my inaugural speech. So, look, we want to be a party of government. We want to find a way back to be leading this state. For me personally, you know, I want to be someone who's seen as someone that stood up for the people that elected him, the people in Nepean, that's passionate about creating a future. You know, I've got twin boys who are 2 in April, Mason and Parker. You know, I want this state to be a better place than it is now for them because, you know, I've had 35 years on this earth. I've had the ability to travel, to do the things that I wanted to do, and I want them to have those same things. I want them to be able to do what they want, to aspire to be who they want. And at the moment, you know, I'm not sure that's the way Victoria is going. You know, I want them to have the best possible future, and that's why I'm doing this.
Game, set, match. I had to use one tennis analogy. Sam Groth, they are lucky to have you, Victoria, and the Liberal Party there. Thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to chatting to you throughout the year.